What's up guys, C2113 here, and in today's video, we're going to be unboxing the 13-inch Samsung Galaxy Book Pro 360. Alright guys, so what we got here is the Samsung Galaxy Book Pro 360. And this one in particular is the 13-inch i7, 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of storage. Now, if it was up to me, I would definitely offer a 1 terabyte option on the 13-inch, but Samsung didn't, so it is what it is. Now I actually would really like to get the 5G version, but for some reason, Samsung still hasn't released that yet. So I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see if I can live without the cellular connectivity on this. And if not, hopefully down the road, I'll be able to get that instead. Now, this is currently available for $1249 from Best Buy, but you can find it anywhere from $1299 to $1200, and then plus tax, you're gonna end up around $1300 something. Now, if you guys are wondering what's the deal with the gloves, I've gotten this question a lot, especially with these products, just like I did with my Z Fold 3, it's the fingerprints, all right? So as long as I can avoid getting fingerprints on the device, for you guys, for the video, I wear gloves, and that makes it just a little bit of a cleaner experience. But obviously, because this thing has a fingerprint sensor, I eventually will have to take the gloves off for that. But until then, enjoy the fingerprint-free experience. So let's go ahead and open this thing up. Now, the 13-inch has actually been surprisingly difficult to find. I've only been able to see the 15-inch in most places that have it in stock. They had a strange configuration on Amazon that had a 1 terabyte drive in it for the 13-inch, but it basically had only one listed in stock, and it disappeared within a couple days of me finding it. But anyway, for me, my main reason behind getting this is to have something to work on videos and the like in place of my iPad. So because I'm considering upping my editing game and just my productivity game in general, I'm eventually going to transition away from the iPad Pro as my primary work device. Don't get me wrong, I'm not getting rid of it, I'm not selling it, I'm still going to use it for a lot of stuff. But for me, there comes a time and a place where I'd rather have a full desktop operating system. So here we got it. Again, it's still hard to believe just how compact this thing is and how light it is. So wow, there's the laptop. I'm gonna go ahead and set this aside real quick, and we'll look at this and what comes in the box. USB-C to USB-C cable. You've got your power brick here. This is a 65 watt. Let's take a look at that real quick. Yeah, 65 watt fast charging brick. And you've got your documentation here. So you can see this is not capable. I've seen some people, by the way, say, there is no 5G version. They're all capable of 5G. I'm telling you guys, that's not true. Exhibit A would be that you can see a spot for a SIM ejection tool. There's no SIM ejection tool here, which should already tell you this isn't the 5G version. And of course, got our S Pen. A little bit odd that they didn't make an easy way for you to remove that, but I guess you just got to push on this side, and then there it is. I'm going to do a quick comparison. This feels very similar to my S Pen Fold Edition, which I always keep in my pocket now that I've got the Fold. So here's the Fold Edition, and here's the S Pen that comes with the Galaxy Book Pro 360. The only difference is that the button is actually located on the round side instead of the flat side, like on the Fold Edition. And obviously the tip on the one that comes with the 360 is much finer. So if we take a look at those tips, the Fold Edition's on the top. Come on, camera, focus. All right, there we go. So you see the Fold Edition's nice and bulbous and soft and round, and then the 360 version is quite pointy. So we'll have to see how that works. All right, guys, so that's pretty much all that comes in the box. It's a very nice stiff box though, so damage isn't gonna be a problem. Let's go ahead and take a look at the laptop. That's why we're all here. All right, guys, so it comes in this semi-translucent sleeve. Let's see what we got. Wow, guys, I don't know if you guys can see that. I really love this color, this finish too. I know everybody said it's a fingerprint magnet, but damn, that is sexy. I really like that. If we look at the back here, we've got our speaker grills, our fan intake grill, I'm assuming. We've got a couple spots on the side that are made from plastic. So I'm assuming these are gonna be your wireless antenna cutouts. And there's your exhaust vent on the back. Man, this thing is really thin. If we look at the side here, we've got our micro SD slot. We've got USB-C port, our headphone jack. And the other side, we've got one Thunderbolt port and then just a standard USB-C port. And then your indicator light, which I'm guessing is for both power and status, I think. So if you're charging, I think that illuminates, and then also if the laptop is running. On the bottom with the feet, by the way, you've got little protectors on there. So we'll remove those in a minute since I'm gonna be putting this directly on the floor. Let's open this thing up. My God, that hinge is really nice. So just to do a test, I'll remove this cover from the keyboard, and we've got a little cover on the fingerprint sensor as well. Let's double check real quick. Can I do this one-handed? Some people are saying it's one-handed, some people are saying it's not. Let's see. It's hard to do from the other side. So it's close, but it's not easy. You can see it's sliding around. So I'm assuming if the laptop was staying in place, yes, you can do it one-handed. But if it's not stuck in place, like if the surface is really smooth like this and you've got the little protector still on the bottom, it's gonna be a little tricky. But man, that is really nice. All right, guys, let's take a look at that hinge. You know, I'll be honest with you, I got a little preview when I was at Best Buy, and I got to play with the hinge on the display model they had there. It's really nice. I mean, this thing is very, very smooth. And obviously, gonna need to do a full review, but let's just see real quick. Does the trackpad on the 13-inch click when you hold the laptop like this? Because a lot of people have complained that the 15-inch feels cheap because it flexes so much, the trackpad actually clicks even when you're just holding it or from underneath. So that's the click normally. It doesn't click. I'm holding it like this and it doesn't click. Guys, if you don't want that cheap, super flexible feeling, I'm guessing go with the 13-inch. And that's the keyboard. You know what? I'm not really mad about that travel. All right, guys, so what I'm gonna do is go ahead and set up the laptop, get it going, and then I'll jump back in and show you guys the operating system and some of the features that Samsung's added to Windows 10 to make this thing a lot more functional and to sort of bring it together into a more cohesive ecosystem, you know, with their Galaxy phones and such. So I'll catch you guys in just a minute. All right, guys, I just did want to show you real quick. I did get this thing to boot up. I'm gonna continue with the setup process, but I was gonna come back and film the original first boot up. But actually, the thing didn't have any battery. So I don't know if that's a bad sign or a good sign. Generally with lithium batteries, it's a bad sign if they've been sitting discharged for a long time. So I'm not so happy about that. But anyway, I'm gonna continue with the setup and we'll jump back in once I get this thing all set up. All right, guys, so I've had some time to set this thing up and work with it a little bit. I don't wanna make this video too long since it's just an unboxing video, but we'll just go over some of the basic things that I noticed. You can see I've installed stuff like Minecraft, Steam. So I've tried out a few, light games, and honestly, it does pretty well. Considering it doesn't have a discrete graphics card, pretty solid. I have DaVinci Resolve in here and VideoPad, two different video editors I've tried out just to test the waters to see how it performs for my obvious purpose that I wanted to get this for, which would be lightweight video editing on the go. This seems to do the job just fine and with some overhead. So I'm quite happy with that. Some observations. There's a decent amount of bloatware depending on how you define bloatware. Now, you'll see a lot of reviewers say, oh, this thing is so, all this bloatware. I don't understand, why does Samsung have so many apps? Well, with all due respect, aside from a couple Samsung apps that are a little goofy, if you honestly hate Samsung apps that much, why did you buy a Samsung laptop? I can tell you personally, again, I can't speak for everyone else. Personally, the reason I bought this machine over some other options that arguably have better configurations or hardware is because of the integration with the Samsung ecosystem. Now, I know people will traditionally only associate the word ecosystem when it comes to tech with Apple, but I actually think that Samsung is building out a pretty solid ecosystem. It may not be as unified or as seamless in every respect as Apple's ecosystem, but it's still pretty robust. And the one example that I think honestly is something that I use all the time is Samsung Notes. this thing syncs seamlessly with my phone is one reason that honestly this is great. It's great to have that integration built right in. In addition, this thing has quick share. So that's Samsung's equivalent to AirDrop. And while it's not as quick as AirDrop, it's still incredibly useful, and I use it. I use it all the time. So again, these are things to me that are value adds. Now, if you just don't want anything to do with Samsung, you can go through and manually uninstall all these apps. But for me, a lot of these things are quite useful. In addition, there's the Galaxy Book Smart Switch app, which essentially allows you to take all your files and transfer them over from your Windows PC to your new computer, your Galaxy Book or whatever it is, just like you do with Smart Switch on Samsung Galaxy phones. And again, that's a hugely useful feature. So enough about my little rant there, but I just want to get that out there that to me, a lot of those Samsung apps are useful. Now let's talk about the bad bloat. The bad bloat was I already deleted it because I just don't want anything to do with it. There was Amazon Alexa pre-installed. You can see the Amazon app. I haven't uninstalled it yet, but I literally never use the Amazon app. I always just use the website, booking.com for some reason. Now you have things like Clip Studio Paint, and there's other painting apps, and all the standard Microsoft stuff. The Dolby Access thing is actually quite useful, which I'll get into in a future video. That has to do with the Atmos audio system here, and it's actually useful, and it doesn't really get in your way. So I definitely would not uninstall that. Standard Intel stuff, a Maps app and that sort of thing. The biggest bloat, I would say, is if you scroll all the way down to your Samsung. Let's see. Yeah, so this is your Samsung section. These are all your Samsung apps. So you've got Samsung Dex, Samsung Care Plus, your Bluetooth sync, your PC cleaner, Samsung Recovery, Samsung Security. Some of these things, especially like the security, Windows Defender already does pretty much everything you're going to need. So it kind of a duplicate. You can take it or leave it, I guess. There is the PC cleaner, which I do think is pretty decent actually at cleaning out unused files and temporary files and stuff you don't need. But again, debatable. Screen recorder and all these things. I mean, that's nice to have built in, right? And for the most part, it's actually not that bad. I saw so many reviews where people were saying, "Oh man, this machine, it has so much bloat. It's incredible. I mean, it's overflowing." And I'm just sitting here thinking, really? This is so much bloat? I'd hate to see what you say to actual bloat, because this is not that bad. So that's apps. When it comes to anything else, a couple things I noticed. When I first started the machine up and I got into the operating system, Wi-Fi signal was terrible. I'm maybe 30 feet inside my house from the router with only maybe one wall separating us. The signal was barely at 2 bars and it kept disconnecting. And I thought, oh no, I got a lemon. This is, gonna have all those problems that some reviewers have talked about on Reddit and such. That wasn't the case. The Samsung Update app ran. It installed the specific drivers that it needed. It had me restart like 5 or 6 times. So be prepared for that, guys. But once I did that, Wi-Fi signal has been great. So not a problem at all. No disconnects anymore. So that's solved. And then the only other thing I noticed was in my brief time playing with it, putting it in tablet mode, taking it around, I noticed one potential downside, okay? The speakers don't flip orientation based on the position that you're in. So like, let's say you flip the machine around like this and it's set like this. So in this orientation, it's fine because even though the speakers are on the bottom, the left is still on the left and the right is still on the right. But if you were to then flip this thing around and do this, and auto rotates your desktop, it doesn't change the orientation of the speakers, meaning that right is still on the right, but now that's on the left. And left is still on the left, but now that's the right. And so especially if you're listening to something that's got important stereo audio, in that the stereo audio directionality is important to the content you're watching, that could be a little bit of a bad experience. And honestly, you might be better off watching it in some sort of mode like this, where I guess unfortunately you're gonna have your keyboard and your trackpad mashed against whatever surface you've got it on. But that's the one downside I noticed. But anyway, guys, that's been my unboxing of the Samsung Galaxy Book Pro 360. So if you want to check it out, I'll try to leave links below for it. It's probably not going to be Amazon because I can't find it on Amazon. And it's frankly pretty hard to find anywhere. The only place I could find it was Best Buy. So I'm guessing chip shortage, pretty bad for these things. But anyway, if you liked the video, be sure to give it a like. If you have any questions, comments, or your own experiences with the Galaxy Book Pro 360, and you have something that you want to add, leave that in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to get subscribed.